Hi, welcome to Talk About Heart here on Shaw TV North Island. We've got an interesting show for you today, social media and politics in the civic election, and I've got two very, I think, talented guests who can talk about that. Catherine Temple, thank you very much, and Jonathan Kervin, thanks for coming in.
Thanks, John.
Good to be here.
Well, we were at the swearing in, Catherine and I were. Did you go last night?
No.
Anyway, council was, as we're taping this, sworn in last night. And it's looking like a very interesting 4 years. Catherine, you've been around Campbell River for quite a while?
Oh yeah, 1981.
Okay. So what do you think of the change that's coming and like the historical significance and such? Is this a big change or is it just a minor change?
Oh, I think Campbell River is on the verge of something very big.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think we are. We're really well positioned in terms of our community to move forward very, very quickly and stabilize our economy for one thing, but way more than that. There's, you know, the three pillars of economy being ecology, sociology, and finance. We're perfectly positioned for all three, so I think we're going to see some massive changes here in the next little while.
What do you think of the makeup of the new council?
I think we've got a good council. I think that we had a good slate to start out with, to be quite honest with you. There were a lot of very qualified people.
The 17 candidates.
Yeah,
yes.
I was really quite surprised because I had the opportunity with the website to speak to all of them, and I thought, wow, this is going to be a difficult run because there was some very good people running, and even people that didn't get in, there was still, it was a really high quality slate.
Yeah. Catherine mentioned the website, and I probably should have said that's Go Campbell River.
Yeah, it's gocampbellriver.com.
And Jonathan is with Kervin Marketing, which specializes in websites, or do you do all sorts of?
Yeah, we primarily website development, but more broadly online marketing as a whole.
Yeah. So, you know, I have a couple of websites. I don't update them enough, but, you know, I'm on social media. I didn't see a lot of local civic politics in social media or online in this campaign.
Neither did we.
No?
No, there was a lack of that, I noticed quite significantly, even compared to the last time around.
Really?
I had conversations with a few of the candidates that approached me on how to utilize social media in an election, but there didn't quite seem to be an understanding or a willingness to commit to using that tool, and some of them, quite frankly, it doesn't seem like they needed it because they're in anyway. So,
yeah. What was your perspective?
I didn't see a lot of the social media stuff. I did see how many people came on Go Campbell River looking for the municipal election information.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah, there was lots. Like I think we had about 7,000 visits just on that particular page in a little over 2 weeks. So, I mean, people were looking online for it. I think, like Jonathan said, I think that there was a real lack of understanding of how social networking really works.
Yeah.
You see a lot of it in provincial and federal levels, especially during election cycles, but it's not something that you start at the end. You don't start 2 weeks before the election. It's really something that you have to get going and get established with well before the actual dates.
And
so
there was actually some missed opportunity there for candidates as well, because the public was fielding questions to candidates in the Campbell River stream on Twitter, for example, and those answers were going unanswered by the candidates. So how does that reflect, right? You have to be where the people you represent are, and so I think that was a missed opportunity for sure. Yeah,
well, Mayor Walter Jakeway, you know, he lost to Andy Adams by a few hundred votes, and so there was a third candidate who got more than the difference. So it leads me to conclude that if Walter had had a more aggressive online presence, he might be mayor today.
well, you take a look in history in terms of elections specifically in the last 10 years. I mean, there are high-ranking officials in the States and in Canada that attribute their entire win to their social networking platforms.
Well, that was Obama, particularly.
That was, yeah, I wouldn't want to say that, but yeah, Obama did. I mean, he had something like 250,000 people working on Twitter alone.
Yeah.
You know, so it is really, really a powerful platform. Although we're finding in Campbell River is behind in terms of using the internet anyway. And I see that as a great opportunity for us to actually move forward with it. But it's a learning curve.
Yeah, well, I was going to ask that. What's the impediment? Is it the learning curve, or is it the money, or a bit of both, or something else?
I think personally for smaller business, it's really difficult for a small business to get a handle on what it takes to market your business, no matter whether it's newspapers, magazine, or the internet.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I mean, if you're a roofer, you're good at roofing.
Yeah.
You know, to learn social networking platforms is arduous at the very best. And I think
the piece that really, there's a disconnect in a lot of business person's mind when it comes to social media. They see it as another selling tool, and it is definitely not a selling tool. It's a relationship building tool. So it's designed to have conversations mainly, right? So you should be putting out content there that's interesting to your audience, whether it's funny or community oriented, things of that nature. Not, here's this great little widget I have, you should buy it. That's going to turn off your social engagement completely. So trying to get that understanding. There's some businesses out there that get it, but there's some that don't. I think people that have been doing something, you know, for 20, 30 years a certain way, it's hard to change those habits. So
when it's really not change, it should be adding and integrating.
And the great piece about it is you have metrics for everything, whether it's online, with the website, whether it's social media, whether it's ad campaigns through Google or Facebook. You can track everything. So it's a huge advantage where if a campaign isn't performing the way you expect it should be, you can react instantly and change it and get the results you want. Where some of these other traditional marketing techniques, you got to do it for a year before you can even really start to see.
Well, Catherine, you mentioned selling widgets, and I had forgotten to ask you about the Dutch auctioneer. You say, I made 2 sets of questions, and I left one at home, but this one is all...
So you're just going to have to wing it now, huh?
Oh, that would be a change. This Dutch auction thing you're doing, tell us about it, because I've heard that it is working.
Oh, it's working, and it's exciting. It's really exciting. What we've done is we've used it as part of our marketing campaign to smaller business. A lot of times smaller businesses don't have a big marketing budget. So we've designed this opportunity for them where they actually trade us in kind with gift certificates. Like they put down a certain amount of cash because we need to cover expenses. And then the next step is they give us the rights to actually sell some gift certificates. And what we do with these gift certificates is we put them on the auction for usually about $5 less than face value. And then every day the price goes down until it sells. Oh, it's working like a hot damn.
The price doesn't go up.
It goes down. It's really kind of cool because if you don't get it, you lose out. Somebody else has got the certificate at that price. Now, because we have some businesses that have more than one certificate, we can actually post a gain. But it's working both for the consumers and for the businesses. And the really neat thing about it is that the people are actually going onto the Dutch auction quite regularly. So they're seeing the ads regularly. So it's a real benefit for the advertisers also. I've actually now had 2 advertisers say, what happens when you run out of certificates? And I say, well, then your ad's paid for. And they go, well, can we get more? I went, well, yeah. Because it also drives
that qualifies as a dumb question.
Well, it's actually kind of neat because it actually, when, say for instance, something like Misty Films is advertising with us, you buy a gift certificate, you walk into their business with that certificate. We just proved that our advertising works, number 1. Number 2, that person is now engaged in your business. They're actually in your business. So you have the opportunity of giving them good service and making them come back, right?
Catherine told me a story a few weeks ago now about one of the advertisers, a restaurant which shall remain nameless. It wasn't Misty Fins.
No.
But somebody bought 2 tickets, basically.
A $50 gift certificate between 2 women.
For $35 or something?
I think they paid a little over $30 for it, and it was a $50 gift certificate.
Anyway, they showed up at the restaurant with 6 or 8 other people.
Isn't that cool? It's so cool.
So the restaurant was happy.
The restaurant made money on those gift certificates, which is awesome, which is what we want.
But one of my reasons, apart from I think it's a good story though, is that illustrates that social media is changing how things are done. And commerce is definitely one. Politics, not so much yet.
That depends on the market. You see larger areas much more active on social media. If you look at
like Victoria,
the Vancouver,
their municipal
Nanaimo.
election was all about social media.
Very, very prevalent part of their...
And actually Vancouver too, now that you mention it, that swung actually on some slanderous comments perhaps that were made on social media, that both sides are accusing each other of slander?
Yeah, and you know, that's not good.
Yeah.
That's not good. That's not what it's there for. People actually will turn you off.
Yeah, it should be just a positive messaging tool.
Yeah. That's interesting. The negative backfires online, but it doesn't in traditional media.
Well, it's there forever, and everybody can see it. So it has much larger ramifications than if you go into a store and you're just yelling at the manager about the bad service you had. You know, maybe 3 or 4 people see that instead of 3 or 4 million people.
Yeah.
Well, I'm biting my tongue, but I'm going to say it. That's a good segue to tourism marketing. That's been a problem in Campbell River for a long time, and you're an expert in it. That's one of the reasons.
Oh, I'm an expert? Oh, good.
Well, yes. Pardon me, but
I've been doing it for a long time, that's for sure.
You started with river rafting, I think, right?
No, I originally started with Oak Bay Marine Group on their corporate sales team. Yeah, and I put myself through school while I was doing that. And then at one point, when the fishing was in decline, and it wasn't even that the fishing was so bad, it was that the federal government was cutting back the quotas for fishing. So the word got out that there's no fish, and there was fish. And I kept on saying, you guys got to get into adventure tourism. You got to get into adventure tourism. And the transformation was quite slow. And so I said, you know what, I'm going to do it. So I started Campbell River Snorkel Tours.
Okay.
But actually under the auspice of Paradise Found Adventure Tours, which was we did hiking.
Okay.
And then someone came to me and said, hey, can you take a few people down the river, knowing that I had done that so often myself. And by the end of the first season, it was like, okay, we better set up a program and get licensed and insured and, and a bus and everything else. So the next season we went in full swing. And I think it was about the 4th or 5th year we ran the tours, we got hit by the international media. And within 3 years, we hit over 600 million people through the international media with that program. It was great. We were in Time magazine and Outdoor Explorer magazine and National Geographic and all over TV everywhere around the world, even in Japan, which was kind of cool.
Viewers might be thinking, where have I seen her before? Well, this is Catherine's 3rd appearance on the show. And this previous one was where were you swimming with the salmon?
Yeah, we actually did,
And we had video of the salmon, and it's fascinating. Is that posted on your site now?
Yeah, it is actually.
Okay.
Yeah, I posted it just the other day. Yeah.
But anyway, tourism Campbell River, marketing tourism. There's going to be some big changes. There's been changes at River Corp as we speak. The CEO, Vic Goodman, has announced his departure, imminent, I think, within days. And they were responsible, River Corp, for supervising some aspects of the visitor center. But the tourism Campbell River, I don't quite grasp it.
Well, it's a really complicated formula, and to go back into it, it'd take half an hour to explain it, but it's gone through quite a few changes over the years, and it's actually Campbell River Tourism and Region now, or Campbell River and Region Tourism. See, I don't even know the name, and I live here. It's a little bit confusing. But
it's like River Corp has a different name too. It's Campbell River Economic Development Corp.
Oh, is it? I didn't know that.
Yeah. But its trade name is River Corp.
Oh, okay.
So,
now we're really confused.
Yeah, but Campbell River Tourism doesn't really have a trade name.
No, well, not a recognizable one. I think that we've changed it a number of times over the years, so we haven't really stuck to one brand, and I think that's one of the things that really needs to be addressed, is the fact that we need a strong brand. And you know, we can't lose the name Campbell River, and I've always said this, like, it's nice to say that we're a regional tourism organization, but Campbell River itself is a recognized brand. And that was one mistake we made way back in the day, to change the name, because Campbell River, the name Campbell River is synonymous with fishing. It's been around for over 100 years, and it's recognized all over the world. So you don't drop something like that.
Were they trying to call it North Central Island Region
Yeah,
or
for
something?
a while, and I think they changed it back after that. But now, even now, the moniker is lost. So, I mean, there's a lot of things that we could be doing in terms of promoting Campbell River that we're not. Go Campbell River is doing a lot of it, which is why we have 145,000 people on the site in 1 year. Because we're taking the initiative to actually go ahead and promote not just tourism, but the area. Because in my way of thinking, tourism, it's an industry in itself, but it supports the entire community. And when we started building the site, I was recognizing that you can't have tourism without real estate. Because it's synonymous.
There is a lot of companies out there that are succeeding in the tourism industry despite the shortfalls that River Corps may have brought to the industry. So, for example, using online marketing such as websites and social medias, there is fishing guides out there that are fully booked throughout the summer before the season even gets rolling. There is adventure tour companies that are filling all their bookings, before the season gets rolling. So it's not something that necessarily needs to be fixed by an outside organization. It can be done by the companies themselves if they're doing it right. But definitely having the support of that organization to promote the area.
It sounds like some coordination is really.
Oh, collaboration is absolutely imperative.
Yeah.
We don't work as a team in this industry here. We used to. Way back in the day, we used to.
I gather one of the problems is like the city does, it supports some tourism development, and the region does, but the regional district, some of the areas inside the regional district don't want to contribute money into the city-dominated operation, and I think perhaps rightly fearing that, there'll be no payback. All of the money will be used to promote Campbell River, not necessarily the regional district. I don't know. There's dysfunctions in there that need to, and I think the new mayor, Andy Adams, is going to maybe address that. But
I think that, to be quite honest with you, if you even look at the visitor's guide, it does promote the region.
Yeah.
It is, Campbell River doesn't stop at municipal boundaries.
Yeah.
You go to a whale watching company, they're going to take off a dock here, but where are they going?
Yeah.
The same thing with the rafting, the same thing with the cycling, the same thing with the biking, the same thing with the hiking. So it's not, and it's everything. It's not just one thing. So I think that Campbell River has always carried the regional districts.
Yeah.
I think that there needs to be more synonymous working together, more synergy, I guess you'd say, between the organizations to, for them to actually say, what exactly is it that you're looking for, and how can we make it work? And I think maybe that's where it's fallen apart.
And how did they communicate that message out too? So, for example, when you looked at River Corp's website, some of that information was 6 years old, and you're just looking at it going, okay, well, what are you guys doing now? Like, why should people come to Campbell River? What are you doing about economic development in the region? What incentives are there for a business in Alberta to come here and set up shop, right?
One of the reasons I'm optimistic about the next 4 years under the new council is that the balance on council is quite interesting. There's gender balance, 4 and 3. There's some business and some left people, and not so much age balance, but there's a diversity of special talents, and I'm hoping that through that, and Andy himself talking about being more collaborative, more, I don't know if he used the word less confrontational, but I'm hoping, you don't want to put your eggs all in one basket, but I'm hoping that Mayor Adams can sort of bring a better teamwork approach to the whole region.
Well, it seems like
before
they're
you jump
already.
in, I just want to say we're going to have Mayor Adams as our next guest too on Talk About, so stay tuned.
I was going to say something to the effect of those women, the women that are on council now. They are
Wright,
3 of the most powerful women I know. So
Evans.
I think that they outbalance the guys 2 to 1. I think one of those women could take on all the guys.
The mayor assigned portfolios last night in the speech, and I haven't actually decoded my own notes from it yet. But it's interesting, Larry Sampson and Ron Kerr got the social agencies. And
that doesn't surprise me because it's very close to both of their hearts.
Yes.
Yeah. And both of them have been very active in the social aspects of it anyway.
But,
so it just makes sense for them to continue
I didn't catch who's, if any yet, is getting tourism though.
I didn't hear what was going on with that yet. I think they probably haven't made up their mind.
Well, as a matter of fact, that's one of the things that they're going to work on this week. They're going right to work on the budget. And so when Mayor Adams is here as our next guest, he'll probably have a better idea of that. Now, Infilm, it was part of River Corp too. Any thoughts on that?
Well, they're a little autonomous from River Corp. They may be under the arm of River
Yeah.
Corp, but from my understanding, I understand that what has happened with Infilm is that the city funds a certain percentage of it, and the money goes through River Corp, but they're not necessarily under their umbrella.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
talked to Joan Miller, the head of Infilm, last night, and basically I think they're going to keep doing what they've always been doing, and so that shouldn't be too much of a
Well,
problem.
Joan's a rocker and a shaker. She knows where to go.
Yeah. Been around a while too.
Yeah,
doing it.
exactly.
I know, yeah. Evolution of tourism marketing via social media. Any thoughts, Jonathan?
Lots of power.
Pictures are worth 1,000 words, and there's no
Yeah.
better way to get a picture in front of a captive audience than on social media. So,
Yeah.
especially with the use of hashtags, you can target an audience that's beyond the one that is actively following you, and
Yeah.
really build engagement and build a
Yeah.
audience that way. So,
Yeah.
absolutely, if you're in the tourism industry and you're not using social media, you better start doing it.
Yeah, I had a light bulb moment recently. I write for Campbellton Now magazine, and I've got a couple of interesting stories coming out about what the new council means, and I've got 40 or 50 photos that could run with that. And of course, there's only space for maybe 2 or 3. And it occurred to me, you know, like if I was doing this on a website, I could put 40 or 50 photos up.
Absolutely.
You sure could. You could send them to me and I could put them up.
Okay, well, we'll talk about that.
Anybody got any photos? Send them to me.
And then Jonathan will get the job of putting them up.
No, actually, he
You-
makes me do it.
Oh, good.
Yeah, he trains me and then I'm on my own.
Yeah, yeah.
He doesn't like to do tasks that are repetitive. He's a creative mind.
Show her how to do it and she'll pass
Well,
it
Yeah.
back.
Yeah, well, is that kind of what Kervin marketing does? It's not just like you doing websites, but you're teaching people to do it?
It runs the gamut. So I really structure it to the needs of my clients. Some of them want somebody to come in and just do everything, and that's fine.
Yeah.
Some people want to manage all aspects of it,
Yeah.
and that's fine too. I actually just
Yeah.
released a new tool to specifically address the market where people want to manage and create their own website.
Oh, I'll have to talk to you.
So that's exciting, and it's working
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
But anywhere within that range too that people are comfortable with, I'm certainly there to
Yeah.
get them going and support them through it.
I sense that there's a shortage of website developers or webmasters in town.
Well, there's a fair number of them.
Yeah.
There's 2 or 3 larger companies,
Yeah.
and there's a bunch of
Yeah.
smaller guys.
Chameleon is?
Chameleon's
probably
here
the
still,
largest
yeah.
in town,
Yeah.
I would think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're pretty
They
good.
got
They
bought
do a
out
very good job,
actually
yeah.
last year, I believe, by a Toronto-based company. So they're
Yeah.
getting international recognition for some of their work. They do a good
Yeah.
job.
Yeah. But you're busy.
Yes,
Yeah.
very busy.
What are you busiest at?
The primarily, our main product is building websites for people, and
Yeah.
then the secondary product is really marketing that website to get exposure, get more traffic, and start
Yeah.
converting that traffic into sales. So what I
So-
tell my customers really is it's all about making it easy for people to give them money, right? So just having a website is pointless, or
Yeah.
having a Facebook page or a Twitter account is pointless. It all really needs to get back into the website and have that website structured in a user-friendly way
Yeah.
that really draws that customer in and makes them want to buy. So
Yeah. And now, PayPal, is that the payment method of choice these days, or is there any number of them? Or?
PayPal is very popular. It's almost the de facto standard right now, but there's a lot of up and coming competitors.
Yeah.
So thanks to eBay, who bought out PayPal, PayPal experienced tremendous growth and was able to deploy online payment systems across
Yeah.
just about every country in the world. Now you're seeing a lot of other companies that are competing against them as well. And pretty much any merchant provider who can put a terminal in a store also has a solution now too.
Yeah.
But it comes down to what is most cost effective.
Well, that's my hurdle. This was years ago, but you know, I was thinking of putting on a website, you know, something, click here to purchase something. And it seemed to me, apart from the administrative hurdle, there was a pretty steep cost barrier.
There can be. So a lot of high-end merchant accounts, they will typically have a monthly fee and a transaction fee.
Yeah.
So that monthly fee for small businesses is usually quite a hurdle to get over.
Yeah, what is it roughly? What's the ballpark?
It can vary anywhere from $20 to $100 or more, depending on their salespeople are tasked with the job of getting as much money out of you as they can.
Yeah.
That's their job, right?
Yeah.
So when you look at a small business or a medium business, a lot of the online only payment providers are more cost effective because they don't have that big monthly overhead fee, whether you have a sale or not a sale, right? It's just based on a transaction fee, so it's more palatable.
Yeah. Facebook, is that falling away a bit?
As far as for business use,
Yeah.
it is not nearly as effective as it used to be.
Yeah.
Since Facebook went public, now they have a mandate to their shareholders to be profitable, and you can't be profitable by having a free service. So they have intentionally restricted the business page from being seen even by people who like it. So if you have a business page and 1,000 people like it, you put a post up there, you might see 100 people might see that post. Huh. And the reason they're doing that is to get you to pay to boost the visibility of that post. So Facebook is really not a cost-effective way to advertise when there's other mediums out there in social media that can actually perform better now.
I have a problem with Facebook, and this may be a misunderstanding, I don't know, but you can't control very easily what is posted on your site. So somebody can come along and write something nasty on your own Facebook page, and unless you're checking it every 5 or 4 minutes, it could, and if you don't look at it for 2 weeks, it could be there for 2 weeks.
Now there are settings where you can change and control that and moderate the comments
And block
or
people.
restrict them.
Yeah.
There is a lot of settings that can control that aspect of it for sure.
Yeah. How about Twitter these days?
Twitter
I love
is
Twitter.
Me too.
Still my favorite tool.
Yeah,
really on social media.
we get absolutely huge returns on Twitter.
Yeah. How so? What do you do?
Mostly what we do is we set up a blog posting, and then we'll tweet the blog posting, and we'll direct it specifically to either individuals or to hashtags.
Yeah.
And I find that you can target your market so easily by doing that. One of the things that we've done quite a bit of is we'll write, say, a blog posting about cycling, because I'm always into the whole cycling thing. I now have a following of cycling magazines, cycling bloggers, cycling shops, cycling clubs. And what I do when I write the blog posting is I will actually send it specifically to them.
Right.
And they retweet or favorite or whatever. And I've accomplished having one blog posting have 1,800 reads in 2 days over that. And what that does is two things. First of all, it draws traffic to our website. I can watch what they're looking at. So they read the blog, and then they go on to the rest of the website. And that's what I like.
4 years from now, you'd be a tremendous asset on a civic election campaign.
Oh, yeah, no kidding. I'm hoping to be retired in 4 years.
All right, well, we're running a bit out of time. Is there anything, Jonathan, you want to add that we haven't touched?
That was just a really great example of what Catherine said of how to use relationships on social media to really drive traffic to your site and capitalize on that. So that's really the strategy I use with my clients as well. We build a website, we update the blog regularly to have new creative content.
That's really important.
Send that out on social media, and you get the double benefit that way. The more pages you have on your website, the more there is for Google to index, and the more there is for you to share on social media.
Yeah. Catherine, last word?
Social media is definitely the wave of the future, but so is Go Campbell River. So
that's a plug, folks.
We'll have to build a social media platform within our website.
There's talk about, thank you volunteers, thank you Gord for producing today, and thank you guests, and thank you for watching.